We are now live.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This meeting of Ajax Council is being held electronically and live streamed on the town's website. All members of council in attendance are participating by audio and video teleconference, and town staff are available throughout the meeting if council members have any questions on the agenda. For members of the public watching from home, please bear with us if we encounter any technical difficulties throughout the meeting. I'll now call this meeting to order. I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement. Want to begin this meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas. More specifically, the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. This land is and will continue to be home to the Indigenous peoples. Let us acknowledge the mistakes and traumas of the past through authenticity and support truth and reconciliation. Let us engage and celebrate Indigenous communities by being leaders of action in acknowledging the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's recommendations towards truth and reconciliation. Let us keep these principles close as we continue towards truth and reconciliation and as we move forward with kindness and respect as a community. Does any member of council have any disclosure of pecuniary interest on items of the agenda? Seeing none, moving on to the minutes. I have moved by Councillor Kyla Morin, second by Councillor Khan, that the following minutes of previous council meetings be adopted. The regular meeting of June 20th, the special meeting of June 30th, the closed session meeting of June 30th, the special meeting of July 5th, and the closed session meeting of July 5th, all of 2022. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, those in favor of approval of receipt of the minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see all hands. That is carried. Mr. Clerk, did any member of the public submit any questions or want to speak as far as question period today?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk, my apologies. Thank you. Moving on to delegations and presentations. First delegation, October Neurodiversity Education and Neurodivergent Acceptance Month. We have Karen Tim, co-founder of Neurodivergent Infinity Network of Educators. Is Karen ready?
Mr. Mayor, I will be auto-playing her presentation this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Just one moment.
Do I need to say you have 5 minutes?
It comes in just over 5 minutes, so.
I'm going to have to cut it off.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today virtually for the Town Council meeting. My name is Karen Tim. My pronouns are she, her, and I am also a member of the autistic community, and I use identity first language. Today, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the 9, as well as why we would like to proclaim and raise the flag for Neurodiversity Education and Neurodivergent Acceptance Month. Who is 9? The Neurodivergent Infinity Network of Educators is a locally founded grassroots network of educators who all identify as neurodivergent. 9 was founded because there was and continues to be a significant need to create safe spaces for neurodivergent educators. Neurodivergent humans experience discrimination everywhere and in multiple ways through ableism, negative assumptions, and the perpetuation of stereotypes in the media and beyond. Often, this happens continuously in our daily work in schools because most educators and school leaders do not have adequate training or professional development about neurodivergent ways of being. Through our intentional work as 9, we support, learn from, and advocate for ourselves, while also encouraging ongoing co-learning with our colleagues, our students, and each other, thereby fostering a working and learning environment that is safer, more inclusive, and more accessible for all. In our community outreach initiatives, such as our virtual Intersectional Infinity Summit, the Awesome Carers Network, Twitter Spaces, book clubs, and more, 9 proudly provides community education opportunities as well as professional learning related to neurodiversity, anti-ableism, and anti-discrimination, all through a neuro-affirmative intersectional approach.
The Neurodivergent Infinity Network of Educators has had a profound impact on my life. After finding out I was autistic, I believed my time with the school board was finished. I figured an autism diagnosis meant I could not be a teacher. At first, because all I knew about autism was the deficit model and thought I couldn't do anything. Then, as I quickly immersed myself in the global autistic community online, I realized being autistic does not mean we are less than. We are just different. Then I thought I still had to leave the board, not because I couldn't be a teacher, but because I felt alone and that I was the only one. I had different views than everybody and found things like the blue puzzle piece triggering. Right at that time, I received a copy of the Actually Autistic Toolkit and realized I was not alone in the board. There was at least one other person within DDSB that shared my views and opinions about autism. This gave me hope. After connecting with the creator of the toolkit online, Karen, I received an invitation to join a meeting of Neurodivergent Infinity Network of Educators. Getting the opportunity to see that I was not alone and to talk to these people was life-changing. They didn't see me as incapable. Instead, they supported, accepted, and valued me. I no longer felt alone. I met a role model, someone who showed me it was possible to succeed in my career as a teacher, autistic or not. I met fellow educators who I could connect with, and we could share our stories and opinions in a safe space. I finally had found my safe, welcoming, and inclusive space within DDSB. I now had people I could celebrate neurodiversity with, people I could talk to about different ideas, such as how whole body listening is ableist, and we could discuss alternatives to this that would benefit not only the neurodivergent children, but everyone. The Neurodivergent Infinity Network promotes a sense of belonging and is an environment that supports social and mental well-being. It gave me not only someone to reach out to, but a whole group of incredible neurodivergent people. This Nine network was like a confirmation that what you're going through matters. You are not alone, and we are here to help. It would be pretty amazing if Nine got more recognition within DDSB, because I bet there are others who feel alone, or that it is not safe to discuss neurodivergence without unfair prejudice. Something I unfortunately experienced myself. I'm sure that Nine could positively affect other people's lives. I know it did for me.
Why proclaim October as Neurodiversity Education and Neurodivergent Acceptance Month? October is already recognized as ADHD Awareness Month and Autism Awareness Month in Canada, as well as International AAC Awareness Month. But awareness is not enough. Education, accessibility, and acceptance are critical on this journey to create safe, neuroaffirmative, inclusive schools, workplaces, and communities. Seeing neurodifferences as natural variations amongst the human population has implications for accessibility across all sectors. This includes ensuring equitable access to supports, housing, employment, systems planning, medical care, education, and more. Our communities need to know that we are not broken neurotypicals. We are different, not less. To learn more from neurodivergent humans about our realities, check out our Nine YouTube channel. And remember, there should be nothing about us without us.
Thank you. I guess we won't have any questions since it was recorded. Moving on to our next, we have item 5.2, Accessibility Advisory Committee End of Term Summary Report, Seppeline Dianarine, 2022 Committee Chair. Is Seppeline here?
Yes, I am.
Whenever you're ready, please go ahead. You'll have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Collier.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor Collier, council staff, and members of the community. My name is Seppeline Deonorine, and I am the 2022 chair of the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Thanks for this opportunity to speak with you this morning to update you on the exciting things we, our committee members, have been engaged over this term. Next slide, please. I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge and thank the passionate and dedicated members of 2018-2022 Accessibility Advisory Committee. To my left and moving across, Chandel Conmoy, Kaylee Dangs, yours truly, Zeppelin Deonorine, Bob Dowes, down one, Donna Mullins, Roseanne Pernoway, Ray Smith, Catherine Smith, down Heather Stevens, Julia Stevens, and of course we have Councillor Can, which was the first half of the term, and Councillor Bauer, the second half of the term. Next slide, please. So the committee mandate, the Accessibility Advisory Committee is unique in that over 50% of our members comprise of people with disabilities. We are tasked with providing feedback through an accessibility inclusion lens on a variety of items, including the development and monitoring of the town's multi-year accessibility plan, review of various site plans, renovations, and retrofits to existing facilities, comments and feedback from the committee help ensure town policies, programs, and projects are inclusive and barrier-free. And members also assist staff with various public outreach, education, and awareness initiatives for both staff and the community. Next slide, please. So our highlights. Although the committee has faced challenges over the past few years to maintain engagement during the pandemic, we rose to the occasion, quickly adapting to the online meeting environment. A few highlights of our projects and initiatives the committee has participated in this term include implementation of the Beacon navigation system at the town hall. And this system provides interior orientation through audio, description, and clues using the free Blind Square app, and is particularly helpful for those who are blind or maybe new to the facility. Accessible public transport feedback during a DRT ride with the mayor, installation of automated door operators at the ACC and HMS room and the North Ice Ring washroom, and beach access mats from the Enabling Accessibility Fund. Barrier removal in our community, communication boards and parks pilot project, and collaboration with the Age-Free Friendly Steering Committee of AJAX. Next slide, please. So let's look at some of the highlights. This is Paradise Park, and in 2019, thanks to the grant funding from the Enabling Accessibility Fund, the town was able to purchase mobile beach access mats for seasonal installation at Paradise Park. These mats provide increased access to the waterfront for those using mobility devices. Next slide, please. DRT ride with the mayor. Early in the term, members of the committee were pleased to be invited to take part in the Sean Excellent DRT adventure to ride the Durham Region Transit alongside the mayor and share accessibility feedback on public transportation. Next slide, please. The pedestrian crossing improvement. The committee has worked with the region for implementation of an advanced pedestrian crossing signal at Kidney and Bailey to improve the pedestrian crossing time for seniors and people with disabilities. And the other pedestrian path of travel, we worked with Bylaw Services and Baywood Plaza to designate a barrier-free pedestrian path of travel in the busy Plaza's parking lot. Next slide, please. The communication board. Just last week, we had the pleasure of joining council, staff, and resident Liz Wallace for unveiling of our Parks Communication Boards project. These boards have been installed in each of the town's wards at Rotary Park, McLean Community Center, and Audley Recreation Center to provide augmentative communication inclusion in our outdoor play spaces for non-speaking individuals. Next slide, please. So our signature event, community engagement and awareness, is where our committee thrives. We participate in annual recognition of National Access Awareness Week, coordinating numerous events for film screening to flag racing, guest speakers, and community contests. The committee is grateful to collaborate with town and departments, including Ajax Public Library, Recreation and Culture, Business Development, and Active Transportation. Above and beyond the monthly meetings, members dedicate time to participate in town events, including seniors barbecue and trail fest events. Members of the advisory committee are also involved in the Regional Accessibility Award and Ajax Community Accessibility Award nominations. We also took part in the recognition of Guide Dog Awareness Month, International Day of Persons with Disability, and supported the Treat Accessibility Initiative. Next slide, please. So some of our signature events. In 2019, pre-pandemic, we saw the largest community gathering at our annual National Accessibility Week flag raising event. And we really hope to look forward really for the growing attendance in future years to come. Next slide, please. Unmasking Brain Injury Art Exhibit. A new partnership this term with the Brain Injury Association of Durham led to a wonderful art exhibit at the Town Hall. That remains on display until the end of the year. The Unmasking exhibit shows 40 masks created by Durham residents living with brain injury that tell their personal stories and journeys. So if you haven't had time to pass by the Town Hall to take a look at the mask and their history, please do so. Next slide, please. Guide Dog Awareness Month. Celebration of Guide Dog Awareness Month has included activities such as story time with a guide dog and children's coloring contest. Next slide, please. Respect the Space campaigns. And in partnership with Bylaw Services, the committee has created 2 online awareness campaigns, one relating to parking in accessible spaces, and the most recent regarding parking across public sidewalks. These campaigns aim to promote the importance of respecting public spaces and paths of travel for people with disabilities. Materials created include an informational brochure and videos. Next slide, please. So what's next for this committee? I really can go on and on, but two reasons. I have to go and I have to deal with the most challenging concern of our time, and we will need more time to do this. So as these highlights only scratch the surface to all of the committee's accomplishments this past term, so as the term comes to an end and we start to think of new term to come, members look forward to continuing collaboration with age-friendly Ajax Steering Committee, Ajax Public Library, creating new public engagement, education, and awareness opportunities, conducting a comprehensive review of the town's multi-year accessibility plan, exploring implementation of mobility device charging stations, and celebrating the 2023 Parasport Games in Durham, and much more. Next slide, please. We can cultivate inclusion by appreciating people of all abilities. That's the circle picture there. Thank you for your continued support. On behalf of our Accessibility Advisory Committee members, we want to thank Mayor Collier, council members, and town staff for your continued support of our efforts to help make our town accessible and inclusive for all. Thanks again.
Thank you, Seppaline. I think I speak on behalf of all of members of council on saying thank you to you and your committee for all of the work that you do. And thank you to Councilors Khan and Bauer for serving on that committee as well. Questions? I see Regional Councilor Crawford's hand up.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to say, I'm not sure if you're aware that the intersection at Kitney, your advocacy has worked, and there is a pedestrian advanced light at that intersection. Were you aware that that was installed?
Yes, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all your work. You guys are really an active advisory committee, and we thank you for your dedication over the past 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further, Councilor Bauer?
Thank you, Mayor Collier. Thank you so much for this excellent presentation, Seppaline. It's such an honor to be on this committee with you and everyone else. I've really enjoyed my time, and I just love the passion and dedication that the committee members have. I just had one question about the Regional Accessibility Awards, and I know the committee put forth a nomination. Do you know, have those awards been completed? Have we heard any news on that?
No, it hasn't yet, and we have a member. We have someone of the community whom we did nominate for that, and I'm not quite sure where it is in the process, and I don't want to say the name if it's not out as yet.
Same here.
We have, but we've done that process. Somebody's been appointed, and we're ready to go with that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Councilor Khan.
Councilor Khan.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. Thank you, Ms. Diana Ryan. A couple of things. I know just when I started my first 2 years on the committee, which is to me the most meaningful work that I have enjoyed doing in my 4 years on council. Thank you to the great leadership of Ms. Sarah Moore. The first things we did was the beach mats, and the second thing we did was the Sean's Excellence Adventure at DRT. And we were with Ray Smith and our other members, and we did point out some challenges hands-on with the mayor that we had. And we did have some recommendations sent out to DRT. And then COVID hit us.
Questions, Councilor Khan. Questions, please.
I'm getting to that. Yeah.
Okay.
COVID hit us. My question would be, was there any follow-up, and is there any way to Ms. Moore, if there's any, there was a follow-up to these conditions and accessible fixtures that we were planning for it, if Ms. Moore is available?
No, Sarah is not available at this today, but yes, we can get back to you on that. You know, we had this sort of challenging times that we all have been in for the last 2 years, and we are now basically emerging from that, hopefully. So things that were done and there was a continuance to happen definitely will occur. I'll really get back to you on that.
Okay, now just to follow up, and thank you very much for the hard work you've done. You guys have been amazing to work with. Thank you, Mayor Collier. Thank you, Seppaline.
Any further questions on the presentation? Hearing, seeing none. Once again, thank you, Seppaline. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks so much.
Moving on to our next final delegation, Heritage Advisory Committee end of term summary report. We have Jeff Wood. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I go on to that, I did not know that Ms. Tim was in the chat, and we do have a proclamation to go with our first delegation. So let's go back to that first. Did we have any questions that Ms. Tim could answer since she is here? I wasn't aware. Councilor Khan, questions?
Thank you very much, Mayor Collier. Ms. Tim, you're there, correct?
I am. We're just in the midst of a very busy school day, so I'm trying to do a quadruple duty.
Wonderful, good job. So listen, we listened to the presentation. It was very educational, informative. Was there an ask from us, from council, what we can do to or how we can support you?
So really the reason for our presentation today is just to advise council that we are an organization, an affinity network that works in partnership with other affinity networks in Durham. We also operate internationally, connecting with international advocates, etc. And our request is just related to the flag raising for the month of October and the proclamation declaration.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mayor
you.
Collier?
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Tim. My apologies. I do have the proclamation here for you. The Corporation of the Town of Ajax hereby proclaims October 2022 as Neurodiversity Education and Neurodivergent Acceptance Month, presented on behalf of myself and all members of Ajax Council, September 26, 2022. And I'm sure the hard copy will be sent out to you.
Thank you very kindly.
Moving on to the final delegation, we have the Heritage Advisory Committee end of term report. Is Jeff ready?
Hello, Council. I'm just waiting for my video to be opened up.
I believe we can, it's on the screen. We can see it.
Good. Well, good morning to everybody, and thank you for rescheduling the meeting today in light of our National Day of Mourning last week. It was very good to have that day to think about other things. And anyway, my name is John Jeffrey Wood from the Heritage Advisory Committee, and this is a report to Council, September 26, 2022. Can I have the first slide, please? The Town of Ajax Heritage Committee is proud to present the 2022 report to Council. The Heritage Committee is working behind the scenes, working with staff to protect our past. Next slide, please. This has been a year of recovery for both our economy and our collective spirits. Rising to the pandemic challenge, your Heritage Committee, together with town staff, has been meeting virtually to continue the important work of oversight and advisement on heritage matters. Next slide, please. Our largest concentration of heritage properties is in Pickering Village. The committee continues to advise on proper restoration of older buildings and pioneer cemeteries there. Here are just a few of the properties that came to our attention over the past year. Next slide, please. We advise on a vibrant mural in Pickering Village. Next slide. A great example of monument restoration in Pickering Village. Next slide, please. Stabilizing monuments at the Elizabeth Street Cemetery, an ongoing effort since 2015. Next slide, please. Ensuring that windows and doors at Gordon House on 103 Kingston Road got a smart coat of black paint. Details big and small were considered with the help of town staff, acted upon. Next slide, please. Reaching out. In an effort to reach out to Ajax citizens through social media, the committee has produced a series of Heritage Minute videos highlighting our historic properties. Some of the properties are the Old Post Inn, Simcoe Point, and the Quaker Meeting House. Just some of the locales are at cameras explored, and the videos are getting exposure on Facebook as well as Rogers TV. Next slide, please. On the horizon, looking ahead at the big picture, pending rapid transit developments will affect all of us as our community braces for future growth. Kingston Road will be very different in the coming years, with further densification on or near main transit lines. With luck and good planning, our heritage will be preserved. Next slide, please. No doubt you've seen the trove of history on display as you enter Town Hall. Look for more and varied history to be displayed there as the Ajax Library supports our archives. Next slide, please. It's been an active term for your Heritage Committee members with very little attrition. The great support of town staff makes a huge difference, especially operating in a virtual environment. In-person meetings may be part of our future, with virtual meetings continuing. Let me thank the town staff for our support, and hearty thank you to committee members. Thank you very much, and I think that is the last slide. Yep.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Wood? I see Councillor Crawford. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Mr. Wood, for your presentation. That was very helpful. My question was around the stabilization of the headstone or the gravestones on the historical graveyard off of Elizabeth. I actually get, believe it or not, quite a few residents contacting me on that one, and I believe that there's some responsibility for the town to maintain the property, but as far as the rest of it, there's a board of directors of the church, and there was some issues over the past few years trying to organize that. I just want to ensure that, okay, I have to form a question. Can you assure me that the stabilization of those stones are definitely happening?
Yes, it's ongoing work, and it is definitely happening. The stone that you saw there earlier in the presentation was probably our worst example. It was flipped over, and we actually had, shall we say, not human remains, but the monuments sliding into the water course that flows through that area. Yes. So it was a tremendous restoration area and had to be handled with great sensitivity. So it is ongoing, and it's a matter of work with the also church groups that are there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know it was quite the challenge, and I know some of the residents have noticed the work happening. So I'm very happy to see that that's happening and going on. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship.
All right, Councilor Bauer, you're next.
Thanks very much. Good morning, Jeff. Thank you very much for this excellent presentation. It's so interesting, the work of the Heritage Advisory Committee, and I really enjoyed being a member. The Heritage Minute videos are awesome. Congratulations to the committee. I'm sure they must take a lot of work and effort, so thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some ideas for future videos?
Yes, we always have a couple of ideas in the pipeline. We're going to look at the history of Defense Industries Limited. We've got lots of old pictures showing the assembly line, the shell placking and that. So the next important chapter is Dillville, I guess, and how it came to be and that kind of thing. We're also looking at more heritage properties down in Pickering Village. So those are some of the things we're working on.
That's great. Thank you. I look forward to them. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Bauer. Anything further from members of council? Councilor Khan.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeff, good job again on the videos. Look, we spent over a year working on signage and making sure it goes to the right specifications. The last one we spent time on was the Chalua in the Canadian Tire Plaza, right? They got it approved finally, and then I just saw a new sign called Rangila open up. Looks totally different from what we spent a year working on. Was that one approved?
We did not see that one coming, and I haven't seen any documentation on that. So I would say it's something that just got done under the radar.
Okay, all right, just checking. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Good job, Jeff.
Thank you. Anything further from members of council? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Wood, thank you so much for your presentation. Thanks on behalf of myself and council for all the work you do and your committee in our community. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. That completes our items, our delegations. Moving on, items of correspondence. Just 1 second, let me catch up in my agenda here. There we go. I have moved by Councilor Bauer, second by Councilor Lee. The report dated September 26, 2022, containing items of correspondence be received for information. Do we have any polls? Councilor Dyes is number 18. Any others? Councilor Khan, which one?
Number 5, Mr. Mayor.
Number 5.
The single-use ban on plastic shopping bags.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further? No. On approval of those, receipt of those in favor? I see all hands unopposed. Number 5, Councilor Khan.
Thank you. I didn't really want to speak to it. I just want to support that. Something that we've been working on as a council jointly, and I'm happy to see that come forward. Hopefully it gets passed. Thank you.
Okay. I guess you're going to move receipt?
Yes, I will love to move that. Thank you.
Okay. Second by Councilor Lee. Those in support? Okay, that's carried. Item 18, Councilor Dyes.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. This is a letter to Premier Doug Ford, and it's from Dr. Stass, who is a longtime resident doctor at the Ajax Pickering Hospital, served our community many years. So when we get a letter from him, it's a heads up for me. He's outlining some of the current concerns he has currently with the Ajax Pickering Hospital. And I have to say, for the first time ever as a counselor here in Ajax, I have received several concerns, not just from residents, but from people outside of our community having to access our hospital. And there are some very, very real issues. But number one to me is the issue of, well, there's two issues, I should say, for me. And one is the fact that we used to have a residents committee that met with the hospital on a regular basis, and that has stopped since Lake Ridge Health was formed. And part of that committee did talk and discuss the different merger points and what we wanted to see happen. Without any kind of residents' concerns or the ability to speak out around the table and address some issues, we really have no say. Yet the impact is huge in our community, as you know, because we're an aging community here in Ajax and Pickering, and many people use it. The other issue too is the fact that the hospitals within the new Lake Ridge Health system are operated out of Oshawa. There is nobody in charge at the other hospitals. There has been, from what people are telling me and the complaints I've had, a lack of communication with staff, which is a little bit chaotic, long waiting times, which we know is everywhere in the system. But when you don't have anybody on board to sort of try to fix those little things and nuances that particularly local hospitals have, they're very, very different, then we can't solve some of these problems and there's no accountability. And I think it's really, really important that as counselors, we support the efforts that Dr. Stass is taking here to make his voice heard and his concerns heard about our local hospital, which affects all of us. So I appreciate this letter that he sent us, and I do support it and endorse it moving forward to Doug Ford. Thank you.
So you are moving to endorse the
Please.
correspondence?
Yeah.
Can we get a seconder, please? Second by Councilor Bauer. I saw your hand first. Any further comments on the letter? This was sent to me a couple weeks ago. I read it through. Obviously, I have a ton of respect for Dr. Stass and everything he's trying to do and fully support, which is what my response was to the person who sent me the letter. So I'm glad to see this come forward and support. Those in favor of endorsements? I see all hands. That is unanimous. Thank you. That completes correspondence. Moving on to community affairs and planning reports. I have moved by Councillor Lee, second by Councillor Crawford, that item 7.1.1 CAP report of September 6th be adopted. Councillor Dyes, you have a pecuniary interest on this at the CAP meeting? You're muted, Joanne.
Yes, I do. Thank you for mentioning that. And it was on the approval of the development on the Henderson property. I have a family member that resides there, has property there.
Thank you. Please note.
Thank you for that.
No problem at all. Anybody have any discussion on the CAP report? Seeing none, those in support of approval? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is unanimous with Joanne as a declared interest. Thank you. Moving on to our next item, General Government Committee. Moved by Councillor Khan, second by Councillor Crawford, that the General Government Committee report dated September 12, 2022 be adopted. Any questions or comments on the GGC report? No? Those in favor of approval? I see all hands. That is carried. Finally, Advisory Committee, moved by Councillor Bauer, second by Councillor Dyes, that the summary of attached Advisory Committee activities report dated September 26, 2022, as attached to the meeting agenda be received for information, and that the recommendations contained therein be referred to staff where applicable. Anything on the Advisory Committee reports? Nope. Those in support? That is carried. Thank you. Moving on to departmental reports. Ms. McClarty, are you here?
Through the chair, yes, I am.
Do you have a summary that you wish to present on this?
Through the chair, thank you. Yes, thank you for the opportunity to comment on this very important final report of the strategic plan for the term. On behalf of the CAO, department heads, and staff, I'm pleased to report 100% completion of the 2018-2022 strategic plan, Stronger Together, including the top 22 by 2022 actions identified by our community. Together, we've achieved numerous bold priorities and actions over the term, delivering real results for the long-term economic and environmental sustainability of the town and community. As you know, a strategic plan sets priorities and guides council decision-making for the term. Approved by Ajax Council in early 2019, the 2018-2022 roadmap of actions you approved proved invaluable during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The plan ensured the priorities of council were being monitored and advanced, and as a result, staff were able to quickly adapt and pivot work, resulting in the completion of 120 substantive and notable actions and hundreds of significant accomplishments over the term. The foundation of the plan revolves around three focus areas: connecting our community, investing in our community, and leading our community. In the connecting our community area, we were able to complete 42 actions. Some of these actions included elevating community engagement, improving council communications as directed by you, promoting a strong sense of place through events and unique installations, and celebrating our history, generating opportunities to discuss and promote inclusivity, and encouraging various programs, services, and supports for all ages in the community area. In the investing in our community area, we completed 36 actions. These actions included progressing and diversifying the local economy, supporting strategic land use development, developing new municipal infrastructure, and modernizing the existing infrastructure, and proceeding with key corporate reviews and strategies. We've heard these before: the IT strategy, the fire master plan, storm water sustainability, the parks and recreation master plan, the economic development plan, and I could go on. We've also invested in town resources, including, and I think this is very significant, 59 new full-time positions, of which 20 are the new firefighters, and 36 new part-time seasonal supports to assist with everyday service delivery, which was very important to this council. Finally, in the leading in our community area, we completed 42 actions. Actions included championing for intergovernmental matters that are important to our community and council, such as urban growth, homelessness. We've leveraged grants and funding opportunities. We have been supporting technology enhancements where we can. We've been supporting our entrepreneurial sectors. We've been delivering continued leadership in the environmental sustainability matters, such as protection, climate change, and design standards, and as a growing age-friendly community. I encourage the community to take a moment to review the final action charge and throw 59-page listings of accomplishments. Like I mentioned, there are hundreds of accomplishments that need to be celebrated and shared. Achieving 100% completion is an impressive achievement during a traditional 4-year council term, but achieving 100% completion amidst a grueling global pandemic, which is still impacting us, is incredible. This accomplishment is a testament to the leadership of council and senior management and the dedicated town staff who persisted through stops and starts, reduced timelines and staff vacancies to deliver on a commitment to take Ajax to the next level at the outset of the 2018-2022 term. And I'm pleased to report that we accomplished this and we are stronger together. So thank you very much, Mayor Collier, for the opportunity to comment on this significant report.
Thank you, Ms. McClarty. Any questions on well, let's get this on the floor first. Councillor Crawford, I see your hand. So let me bring this down here. Moved by Councillor Dye, second by Councillor Crawford, that the 2018 to 2022 strategic plan final report be received for information. It's on the floor, so you can ask questions on both the presentation from Ms. McClarty and on the report. Councillor Crawford, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. My question is around the community champions. At the beginning of this term, we had people put in applications to be community champions to actually hold us accountable for actions on the strat plan. We had the books that were put out and whatever. I realized that we did have a big pandemic, big thing happened for 2 years. But I mean, we all pivoted to Zoom. We all pivoted to online meetings. So I'm wondering whatever happened with that particular. I'm at a loss for words, but the involvement with community, I thought was really critical, and we had a huge amount of people that were really wanting to be involved in it. So I'm just asking about that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Ms. McClarty?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you for your question, Councillor Crawford. Yes, indeed, we did have a great reaction to our call for community champions on this project. We had a massive call for support, and in that we did receive a lot of uptake, and we did have that launch. Unfortunately, that launch was, I think, 2 days before the world stopped on March 20th. So the group was very excited at the time. Throughout the term, I would say we've engaged them about 2 to 3 times. I'm just trying to remember all those opportunities, but significant ones included at the midterm break, once we did a comprehensive review at council, we did engage the group on the crossword challenge that we engaged the community on. We had, again, hundreds of responses with that. They were used as our focus group to test the crossword, to test the questions, and we did get significant input from them. That call went out, and the crossword challenge was a success. There was we gave away some prizes. The next time we engaged them was on the community action charts that we updated the community on as well. They were provided. And then, of course, just the routine updates regarding the successes and where we were. So we were back to council, I think, in 2021 twice, at the outset of the term, and then at the year, and then at the end of the year, and they would have received updates at this point, and they will again receive thank you and updates at the conclusion of this meeting as well. So they are very aware of the significant and hundreds of accomplishments that were completed during this term.
Is this something that, thank you for that. Is this something that we're going to be entertaining in the new term?
Yes, I think that the only way that we can communicate and celebrate these accomplishments are through these champions. It's important that we have champions out there that understand what council is the vision of council and what council is trying to achieve and what their priorities are, and having them available to communicate that to their neighbors and their friends and share where this information is available is very important to the strategic plan and the success of it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Dias, I see your hand.
Thank you very much. That did answer some of my questions. So I'll ask the other one. It's a huge amount of work, 4 years of work that's gone into this strategic plan. So is every department involved in the creation of the plan?
Through the chair, thank you for your question, Councillor Dias. Yes, every department is significantly involved from the very outset of the term. They are consulted, through the development of the plan originally and the design of the plan, and they support council in terms of recognizing what is achievable and what we might have to put on like in a parking lot for later. But most of department heads are available from the outset. We include all managers in the design and development of the strategic plan. Then, of course, if you remember, we did a midterm council session where each director provided an update on some of their key work to date and accomplishments. And they advise me when they feel that things are not going to be able to be accomplished as per the original results. And you see things like during the term where we've merged some actions in order to complete the vision of council. And so they are party to that. Every update that we do a yearly update. They are part of that yearly updated as well. And it really does support their work plans as well. So they are very engaged in this. They know what needs to be accomplished for council, and they integrate that into their day-to-day business in their departments.
Well, thank you for that information. I think it's really important that, you know, our residents understand that all of us work together on this plan, and what staff do is incredibly important. And a big thank you to all of you for the work that you have done to complete this strategic plan. It's very much appreciated. And I know how hard you've worked and how difficult the challenges have been in the past couple of years. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Bauer, I saw your hand next.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. I did get some of the answers I was looking for. Thank you very much for this report, Christy. It's fantastic. It's always great to have good news and to see that how hard everyone has worked over this term. There were four actions that were moved to the next term due to COVID-19. I'm sorry I don't see them in the report what exactly they were. Do you have that offhand, what those items were?
Through the chair, yes, I do. I have some examples of those. Just give me 1 second here as I browse through my notes here.
Thank you.
So, for instance, I believe we moved some customer service work. Council made the decision to move some of the capital pieces out, and so we wanted to merge all of that work together. Customer service survey, looking at customer service management system, those type of pieces, that was they were moved out. Some of priorities around D&I, which we will move forward on. I think one was an inclusive guide for staff. Some of the other priorities took precedent during the term. We created the new anti-Black racism task force. Council did the workshops every month, and I'd like to congratulate you guys on doing that as well. So some of these other projects took priority. So those are a couple examples of what would have moved out. I think one other one involved a project within active transportation in terms of looking at something like digitizing our trail system. So there was a few projects that we just couldn't achieve, and they were moved out of the term. But moved out of moving actions out of a report is typical. So what happens is during the term, you want this to be a fluid document. You want to be communicating, working together, ensuring that this document is always up to date and has I guess the relative information in it, so that it's always accurate and we're always accomplishing what we said we're going to do. So being transparent, I guess this is a transparent document, and so you'll see throughout the entire term that there was changes and we merged actions, but all of those changes were documented throughout the entire term.
Great, thank you. One of those items I think that is moving around or going forward, hopefully, is, which I didn't see on the report, was the Ajax Wall of Fame. So that's somewhere, it hasn't been forgotten.
Through the chair, yes, we made that decision at the very outset of the term based on budget pressures. So that, yes, is out for now, but it's not forgotten. It's there, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it might even be included within looking at the Parks and Rec Master Plan.
Okay, great. And then I can't find it right now, but the shuttle service, there was talk about providing shuttle service to the seniors groups to various locations across the town. And then there was also the pilot program for the waterfront bus service, extra stops during the summer season. Those two are completely different things, right?
Through the chair, they were tied together when we did go back to DRT on that. So I think what we wanted to be able to achieve was looking at various areas that seniors could go to in the community, and that was the program, the pilot, that was developed out of that. So there was no look at specific transportation for seniors.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the hard work that you put into this. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Anything further on the strat plan? Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Mayor Collier. Ms. McLarty, thank you for this. We've done all this with the best interest of Ajax and its residents first. And my question is that, are there any actions being taken to share this information with our residents, other than through this meeting and a recording?
Through the chair, that is the most important piece of this whole process, as I was communicating to Councillor Crawford, is the sharing of this information. So first up, we will be sharing with and finalizing and sending a thank you note to the community champions. That will be released. This is also going on our IMO page. A new page, Splash is being completed as we speak. We'll be celebrating through the media as well, and through social media updates on the 100% completion.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome. Anything further? No, I'll just make a couple of comments then. I don't have any questions, but just on the report and to staff, you outlined a few things. A couple of things other than COVID, we've also had to deal with this term, have been some pretty significant weather events, things like the massive snowstorm, the biggest storm, I think, in over 50 years that we had to hit the town back in, I think it was February, that took us about a week to dig out of. And that was just an enormous event that took a lot of resources, that it's not something we could ever foresee with the plan, but I think is going to be more of a regular event going forward. Also, the enormous windstorm we had earlier this summer that took down, I don't know how many thousands of trees and hydro lines, and some without power for a week. And some of that was outlined in our correspondence report from Alexicon today. Some things they've learned, lessons learned, and some things we're going to have to look at through them. We've had 5 master plans, I believe, that we put forward through this. Our recreation and culture master plan, our fire master plan, our storm our stormwater pond plans. Like, there's been so much stuff that has happened, and now we're in the implementation stages. We've done pretty massive increases in service levels, from staffing that you've talked about to programming to other things we've had to pivot for through COVID that nobody would have known in 2019 when we started this process of developing this strat plan. A lot of seniors initiatives as well, which are coming out of the Recreation and Parks Master Plan as well. So I could go on and on and on, but there's been so many variables and so many moving pieces. I think it's just an incredible job that staff have been able to get us to 100% completion, because council sets out the strat plan, but staff are the ones who are implementing the plan and doing all the things that we direct them to do. So I think on behalf of myself and council, it's very, very, very fair for me to say, and I have full support, I'm sure, from council, that thank you to Shane Baker, the CAO, for your leadership on this, to your entire senior management team, and to all of our almost 600 staff in coming together and working together and being open to pivoting and going every different direction that we've had to go throughout this last 3 years to be able to get us to this stage where we can proudly say we've reached 100%. And I think we're all going to be very quick to brag about these achievements at the door and promote this as much as possible. So I just wanted to say that thank you so much. And we're not done. just because we've reached 100%, we've put a lot of things in motion this term, a ton of things in motion this term that's going to take the guidance and commitment of council and staff next term to actually bring some of these to fruition with regards to building out our downtown, solving our sewer capacity issues through the case study, which is nearing completion. This is the base, but we still have a huge amount more to do as far as the implementation of all these things. So hopefully I'll be here working with you next term. I'm pretty sure I will. I'm pretty sure we all will. And just thanks on behalf of everyone. Councillor Crawford, is that a new hand or an old hand?
It's a new hand, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this council, when you take away all the work that we were doing for 2 years and we're sitting around like, looking at things, I think we put more motions forward in this term than we have ever done in any term that I've ever sat on council. So really like council, we've been like bouncing balls. Like we set the strat plan and then we went in one direction, we went another direction. I think it affected planning the most. So I really like to give a shout out to Jeff Romanowski and his team, because I think we really, we were all over the map. Like we were just crazy because we had nothing else to do. So, on top of all of those initiatives that we actually started out with, I think we also added I don't know how many more on top of that. So sorry, thanks for letting me back in, but I just really wanted to thank planning, because I know that I think me personally added so much more to their workload, and I apologize, but thank them for trying to do what we asked them to do. Thank you.
Anything further? The motion is on the floor, moved by Councillor Dias, second by Councillor Crawford. Those in support of the strat plan report? It's unanimous. Great job, everyone. Thank you. Moving on to regional council reports. Do we have any regional council reports? Councillor Crawford.
Yes, I have a little bit here I just wanted to talk about. I think, first of all, we'll talk about the water sewer connection that happened that really quite blew up over the last little while. It was presented to the work. I don't know how deep you want me to go on this, but it was presented to the Works Committee about a year ago. And it was presented as a housekeeping item, basically to align Durham Region with the rest of the municipalities in Ontario. The question was asked at that time, what is the impact to residents? The answer was minimal. What is the cost savings? It was $300,000. All in favor. Everybody thought, okay, minimal effect to the residents and a cost savings. That is what we're all about. All in favor. Everybody put up their hand, and that was great. A year later, all of a sudden there's a warranty letter going out with Durham Region's logo on it. And, I think if we've learned nothing through this process, you cannot over communicate or educate residents in what is coming in their mail. So I think that we heard very loud and clear from our residents, and I appreciate the fact that that they spoke the way they spoke. And we had a motion at Committee of the Whole to overturn that decision. And I believe that with all my heart on Wednesday this week, that will be ratified and that decision will be completed. And so I just want to say that, that it was a tough couple of weeks answering questions and getting, the feedback, but we deserve it. We should have asked a little bit more. We should have been a little bit more informed. And so I want to thank residents for standing up and speaking their voice. The other piece was on clear plastic bags. We do have potentially a pilot going out in Clarington on the clear plastic bags. It was brought to Regional Council by Clarington Council. We had quite a discussion on it at Committee of the Whole, and it was decided that the zero tolerance piece of it, so essentially everything in the clear plastic bag would not have any other bags in it, so no white bags. However, if you had a chicken bone in that clear plastic bag, it would not be picked up. So that is zero tolerance. So it was decided at Committee of the Whole that perhaps zero tolerance was not exactly where we wanted to start with. And so it has gone back to staff it's been deferred so that we can come back to take a look at that zero tolerance piece of it. I wanted to say it's so happy to see a bus route back on Ravenscroft. The 211 has been up working since September. That's good news. That means people are back on a bus and people are using the bus because the on-demand service did work and identified that route needed to be back. So way to go, Durham Transit. And I wanted to also say one more thing, that Feed the Need had a spectacular event on Sunday. Even with all of the rain, we filled a huge truck and then filled the front foyer of Town Hall. I don't know what the community centers and the libraries look, but I want to shout out to Jamie Key for putting this all together. It was a huge success, and she basically said Ajax won. So I don't know what the other municipalities did, and I do realize that this is a Durham-wide event, but I'm very proud of our residents for coming forward and being generous one more time. So that is my report, if there's any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Councillor Lee, sorry.
I can see we'd make that confusion. So through the chair to Regional Councillor Crawford, not in your report, but just a really pretty relevant question to Works. What is going on with the province taking over, I think it's recycling? Because I believe they're supposed to do that in the next, I think, year and a few months. And I haven't heard anything about that. And it's a pretty important aspect that I was wondering if you had heard anything or Works had heard anything from the province and their decision to take over recycling.
Councillor
Yeah,
Lee,
actually, we had a report.
Whoa. We're still on council reports. I thought you had a report, Councillor Lee. We're not on questions yet.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry. I had a question. Yeah, okay. So I'll hold.
Do you have a report on planning?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there any more regional council reports? I will just do quickly. I don't have anything on finance, and Councillor Crawford has covered the 219 from transit. I just want to speak to the sewage letter. I think that was handled incredibly poorly by the region. This was a decision that was made at a committee level 2 years ago. And nobody, as Councillor Crawford has said, thought twice about it ever since. It was just a very basic report, but it was implemented terribly by the region. And I hate to throw them under the bus over this, but this was done in the worst possible way, waiting 2 years and then just rolling out a letter from a third party a month before an election. When it just was very bad. The region should have sent a letter out themselves first, advising the residents of what was happening and that they would be receiving this warranty letter and exactly what that would mean. And I think this was a huge learning experience for the region. I trust this will never happen again. It has been completely rescinded, which does put quite a bit of liability back on the region, because when the region now has to go in and replace a sewer up to 1 meter from the foundation on private property, and there's a retaining wall or a fence or a pool or a garden or interlocked path or any of those things, the region doesn't repair that. I mean, that's not part of the work. And I hope residents understand that this is still something that they probably should look at their homeowner's policy and make sure that sewer backup is covered, because that is still something that the region never has been nor will be covering because it is on private property. So I just want to add to that, Councillor Crawford, that it's good to say it's rescinded, great. But the residents need to understand they still have that liability. They've always had it and they will continue to have it. And that's a very, very important piece. Whether the region is responsible for the pipe underground or not, they are still responsible for all of the infrastructure. So they should be checking their policies or still potentially looking at that other if it comes back as an alternative if their policy can't cover it. That's my regional report. Any questions? Councillor Lee.
Same question, just to Regional Councillor Crawford, whether she's heard anything about from the province taking over recycling.
Yeah, the end users, through you, Your Worship, through the end use producer, I think is what the province has called it, where plastic bottles and Coke cans and whatever, the whole recycling piece is now at the responsibility of the people who put them in the people that use them. We had a report to Works. I want to say now it was about a year ago. We had a report, and it was talking about the different places that the end use producer would actually pick up, and there was a few concerns that were raised on that, but it's still at least a year out. I think it's next year they start to implement that. It comes with a huge cost savings to the region, like somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. Like it's a huge cost savings, but it will be rolled out next year. And I can get more details for you on that one, but we did get a report back from Works on that, and we're hoping that that goes out smoothly. Nothing changes as far as the residents go, so residents should not see any changes whatsoever. The same schedule of every week being picked up as a recycling cycle that we do now stays the same. It's quite possibly the same truck coming by to pick it up, but the cost of it is now going to the companies that actually produce the plastic and all of the other recycling. So it should be like, I'm assuming not like the last report, but it should be a seamless process, and residents should not see any difference in the recycling, what goes in your recycling box, and also the scheduling. That is what we've been told.
Then no other updates. Quite honestly, I think that was the biggest concern I had, was whether it would affect the residents at all and the way they put their garbage and recycling out. So if not, then that's good to hear. Hopefully it is more seamless, like we all said, than the previous regional endeavor. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Regional Councillor Crawford.
Yeah, they will go through a tender process. So it's not just assumed that it's going to be like a Miller Waste. And so companies have to go in and they have to bid for, because it's a different contract completely, right? So it's not assumed that it's one contract.
And sorry, actually, Chair, one more question, if you don't mind, to Regional Councillor Crawford. Is the contract with Miller Waste coming up soon? If I'm not, I recall that was happening, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I tried to get that in camera and I was voted against that to talk about the contract, because as I was picking up food over the weekend, I noticed that there were multiple streets that still have yard waste on their front lawns. And I have asked staff what is going on, and they've assured me that Miller Waste has said that they have the capacity to be picking up, because we're coming into raking leaves, we're coming back into that season again. And so I have been talking to staff over the weekend, and they have assured us that Miller Waste is able to handle that. I don't know when the contract comes due, because I was not allowed to ask those questions in camera. So yeah, I have asked the questions, and I have reported streets all weekend on that have not had their pickup done. So feel free to do the same.
Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'm just wondering why the date of the renewal would be in camera. Would need to be in camera. That could be a public thing.
Yeah, I was under the impression, and maybe I was wrong, but I was under the impression that any talk about a contract had to go into camera. So I don't know. It was just kind of I just thought that because it was contracted, it had to be in camera.
Okay, I'll ask that on Wednesday, because I'm certain that that contract renewal date is not an in-camera item. I think the specifics of the contract perhaps, but that should be something we should be able to easily find out. Anything else on Regional Council reports? No. Moved by Councillor Lee, second by Councillor Dies, that the Regional Council reports of September 26, 2022 be received for information. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Moving on to notice of motion, we have one. I will turn over the chair to Councillor Crawford, as I am the seconder on this.
Okay, Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. This one is a bit of a housekeeping one, to be honest. It's not typically, we shouldn't be putting motions during this time, but there was a public feedback component. So this motion is every so often the federal government will look at the ridings across Canada. I think there's over 3 something well, minimum 338, I know that, and they kind of redistribute them based on population, and they ask for feedback based on those changes. As it says in the motion, Ajax was virtually untouched. The town as we know it, the town boundaries as we know it, was kept in terms of the federal and then obviously next provincial ridings. And so this is just feedback to the commission, just saying that, hey, the town of Ajax absolutely supports the fact that we were cut up and that we'd like to keep it this way. And the only reason I brought this forth to have council endorsement was because sometimes, for example, in my previous world, I worked for the federal government, municipalities that don't give feedback find themselves cut up afterwards at subsequent recommendations. So I just want to send an emphatic signal to the federal government and anyone on the Elections Canada that the town of Ajax fully supports keeping Ajax the way it is, both municipally, provincially, and federally. Thank you, Chair.
As seconder, Mayor Collier, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just very quickly, try not to duplicate. I think it is important that we say that we are happy with this. We don't want to end up like a Clarington where we have to have 3 MPs representing the municipality. Of course, they're a much bigger size than us with our fixed urban boundary, but when others, I suspect some of our neighbors might be writing different letters saying they're not happy with the changes. And when they do a relook, I agree with Councillor Lee that I want to make sure that we are on the record saying, no, we're happy with this. We're not the ones you want to relook at and rejig our boundaries, because Ajax, as we all know, we're all very proud of, is unique and we are distinct. And I want us to make sure that we remain with our own distinct MPP and MPs at the upper levels of government, and the provincial generally follows the federal. So if the federal changes, the provincial change is going to cause a mess. So again, I agree. Housekeeping item, just to safely say we're happy with this. Please don't change. Thank you.
Is there any questions to the motion? If none, all in favor? Thank you. And back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Great job, Chair. Great job. Moving on to bylaws. Moved by Councillor Bauer, second by Councillor Khan. Sorry, wrong page. Bylaws number 54-2022 to 63-2022 be read at first, second, third time and pass. This includes our parkland dedication bylaw as well as some others. Questions? Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair, I guess to Director Romanowski, we had kept the language flexible at cap regarding the park dedication bylaw. Were there any subsequent changes or anything that Council needs to be aware of on the final draft?
I believe Mr. McCullough is on the phone and he can address that question.
Through the Chair to Councillor Lee, there were some minor adjustments made to the bylaw, specifically related just to definition language. There was no substantial changes to the user or the rates.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to know. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Sean.
Anything further? No. Those in support of approval of the bylaws? I see all hands. That's carried. Is there any notice of motion? I bet there isn't, because that would be ridiculous since we don't have any other meetings till the end of this term.
Can there be technically, sorry, just point of order, just for a question.
No.
We can't, right? Because we're not necessarily coming back. Right? Okay.
We're done. We're done. Save them for December. New business and announcements. I'll go top to bottom. Councillor Tyler Moore on my screen.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Development Council, CDCD, have partnered with Korea Community Health to host a local candidate meet and greet series to engage Ajax residents in the upcoming municipal election. You haven't heard about that. The Ward 1 meet and greet is on Monday, October 3rd, this coming Monday, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at our beautiful McLean Center. This is a casual meet and greet style event meant to provide a space where residents can rotate around the room to the different candidates, ask questions, and engage. Light refreshments will be provided. Regional Councillor Marilyn Crawford and I Councillor Tyler Morin. Look forward to seeing our award-winning friends, neighbors, and residents.
Thank you. Next, going down the page, Regional Councillor Crawford.
Mine is more of a question. Am I allowed to ask it?
Shoot.
Okay. You can roll me out of order if it is. Councillor Lee, in one of the meetings back in, I want to say maybe June maybe-ish, made a motion to have Viridian come to this particular meeting. Were they ever asked to come?
A lexicon.
Oh, sorry. My bad. So sorry.
I believe they sent the report that we approved in correspondence, or that we received in correspondence instead of a delegation.
No.
We requested, but we can't tell them what to do.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Continuing down, any other announcements? I'll just do the one similar to Councillor Tyler Morin's. This Wednesday, which would make that September 28th at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Christian Faith Outreach Center and Caria Community Healthcare. I'm pleased to invite you to a community forum for the 2022 mayoral candidates under the theme, Making Every Voice Heard. So we're going to be discussing a number of different issues. I'm not sure what the format is, whether it's a debate or what it is, but it's open to the public from 7 till 9 this Wednesday. Anything further? Councilor Bauer?
Thank you, Mayor Collier. So I'll bring up the same topic. So for Ward 3, local and regional councillor, the Ajax candidate meet and greet will be on Thursday, October 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Ajax Community Center. And the other one, which was the Every Voice Heard session community forum, I think, is on October 5th at 7 o'clock, also at the Ajax Community Center. Thank you.
Councilor Lee.
This may shock everybody, but we would, in World War II, would like to invite you to the Canada meet and greet at the Audley Rec Center on October 5th, which I believe is a Wednesday. Let me just quickly check. Yes, which is Wednesday, October 5th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also very casual meet and greet. Light refreshments will be provided, so don't expect heavy refreshments. And you'll get a chance to meet all the candidates.
Very good. Anything else?
Oh, sorry, one last thing.
Go ahead.
Just ultimately, this was my first term on council, and I just want to say I want to extend my thanks to all staff for kind of helping us through the growing pains for the new councillors, as well as council. It was definitely an interesting term with COVID-19, and I think we definitely rose to the challenge and are stronger than ever as a team. And you know, I don't know if I can say this, but I'll say it anyways. I look forward to serving with you all in November, or I guess December. Thank you.
November 28th, potentially. I was just going to actually wrap it up with similar comments. I just want to wish everybody the absolute best going through this election period. It's been a pleasure working with you throughout this term, getting to know each other. I agree, Sterling. I think we are more in alignment than we've ever been. A great team, and I'm working very well with staff, Shane Baker, CAO, and senior management team, and all of our staff. I think together we're doing a lot of great things. So enough patting myself on the back. Just want to wish everybody good luck during your election. And yeah, I hopefully look forward to working with you again next term. Moving down, confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Tyler Morin, second by Councillor Dyes, that the bylaw number 64-2020-22 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Ajax at its meeting held on September 26, 2022 be read a first, second, third time and passed. Those in favor? I see all hands. That is carried. And finally, moved by Councillor Crawford, second by Councillor Khan, that the September 26, 2022 meeting of the Council of the Town of Ajax be adjourned. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff.
Thanks, everyone.
For great.
Good luck, everybody.
And enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you,
All the best.
everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
Good luck.
Good luck.